It was after the girls were married and off on their own that Bill had some medical problems and was put in the hospital for a test that was due to be done overnight and not to be worried about. When he returned to his room, I soon became anxious when something I knew was terribly wrong. I called for the nurse and ran to stop Troy and Jessie Lou, who had just left to go home. I stopped them at the door and was always grateful that they were there. What a sad time I had when life wasn't worth living for me. But we do survive some terrible times. I was grateful for my family and good friends. Life was so vacant and lonely, it was hard to pick up and see anything worth doing. My girls reminding me how much I had enjoyed traveling and insisted I think of something interesting to do. And I asked a friend if she'd like to go with me on a trip. She had recently lost her husband. That's how I got my bearings, and we made reservations for a 3-week trip to the British Isles. When we checked into our first night in London, a new group joined us. They had spent 3 weeks in France and wanted to add 3 weeks. Wanted to add 3 weeks in the British Isles. It was the dinner hour when they arrived. So we got acquainted and began to compare our travels so far. In this group was a dark-haired, handsome man who was very good to talk with. He came from Albuquerque, New Mexico, but was a native Texan. Grew up in West Texas and went to college at Texas A&M. That rang a bell for me. As the days passed, he and I got to know each other, and we shared our history as we walked and enjoyed the sights of London. He told me of his stay in France and had scads of pictures. He was a real release from the grief and sadness I had brought along with me. And we began to eat together, walk together, and we shared our sorrows and our love of life. And we got to know each other as we went on our private walks through St. James Park, the Thames River, and the Big Ben clock on St. James Cathedral. We felt we had known each other forever. My friends I had come with connected with some others of the group, and we would talk at bedtime of what we had done that day. I had Not heavy. Trying to make up my writing. I had to share my sadness. The heavy cloud over me had began to lift. We covered the Isles and learned lots about the British. My friend was enjoying her new friends. getting the relaxed pleasure we had hoped for. She loved to shop, and I enjoyed the countryside and good company to talk with. At the end of our 2 weeks, it was back to the old routine, but as a sort of a veil had been lifted from my heart, and I could think and appreciate the wonderful life I had enjoyed with Bill and my family, and I could visualize maybe getting back into my old happy self and learning to take life as it comes and do the best you can to find peace and happiness as things change and we grow in understanding. I had agreed to invite Austin to visit me in his motorhome at some time in the future. That summer we did visit each other and got to know and feel comfortable talking, catching up on past times, and realizing maybe a closer tie to each other. He took me to his cabin he had built in the ski area near Taos, New Mexico. He had designed it and supervised the building of it. Also had planned and supervised the building of 2 other homes. The more we were together, the more a treat to be really appreciated. Appreciating life again, and someone that grew in my heart with every letter and phone call. During his duty in the Army, he was injured in Germany and lost his left arm at the shoulder. He didn't let it stop him or his life, or stop him or lose or loss of life. Before long, we felt it was time. We combined our lives, and we were married in my home church. I sold my house then, he sold his, and we bought a home that we will always remember as getting a new lease on life on Brandywine Loop in Albuquerque. We now have had 22 plus years together and would like them to go on forever. I just had my 90th birthday, and he will be 92 in November. So I think we will make it together. In fact, we share our dreams and thoughts or give thanks for life as it is. One can be happy and content, and that is our aim in the years that go by. We're now living at the Army Residence Center in San Antonio. Life is pleasant here, and we are spoiled. Spoiled with the beautiful area. We're just minutes from the hospital, doctors. Our cottage is quite large, and we could eat all our meals in the large dining room, but we can call in or get it delivered. Not a bad life, plenty of times to read and do things we please to do. That's it.